right, yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Victorious Ones podcast. Of course, the place where gaming meets comics, meets sports, meets movies, as well as inspiration. Of course, for those of you who don't know already, I go by the name of King Von Jr. And of course, you can follow me on social media on Twitter at 301 King Von Jr. And Instagram at Mr. King Von Jr. And of course, you know, it's several that Of course, I'm also on Perfect Plex Talk Radio. On Mondays at 6 p.m. as a social media producer. And so of course, without further ado, I'm definitely going to, um, you know, like, sort of, so like I said, I'm definitely going to, give a rundown of the BRP 50, as well as AwesomeCon 2023. Of course, I hope everyone enjoyed their Juneteenth weekend festivities and celebrations, every whichever way else that you celebrated. So of course, of course, I want to talk about, I want to talk about AwesomeCon weekend, which is absolutely incredible. And of course, I make sure I go to AwesomeCon every year, and for those that are familiar with the DMV area over here, this is the Washington Convention Center, here in DC. And so of course it was over the course of Juneteenth weekend, which made it even better, and just a great weekend in the books, right? And so of course, full disclosure, of course, for the second straight year, AwesomeCon, for the second straight year, AwesomeCon dressed as Spider-Man Far From Home, of course, by the way, and of course for those that follow me on social media, of course, my pictures from AwesomeCon are on my social media pages, and so of course there are a lot of great cosplays, obviously, because of the fact that Across the Spider-Verse is extremely popular um, this time of the year. You know what I mean? So that movie was an absolute hit. It was absolutely remarkable. It was incredible, and of course the impact, the influence was felt at AwesomeCon. Since we're talking about defined influence on Twitter, influence obviously looking at Spider-Man. Looking at the movie itself, and the impact that it's made so far. And what I mean. So as far as that, like I said, the things I've seen, all kind of great cosplays. Like I said, those that was pretty much like the primary cosplay this year. I've seen Flash cosplay, Lady Flash. I've seen, like I said, Power Rangers cosplay, Mandalorian, especially when it comes to the 501st Legion of Mandalorian cosplayers. Of course, we walk around the exhibit hall and have like a mini parade, if you will. And, of course, there's a lot of Mario cosplayers because of the massive success of the Mario Brothers movie. And sorry about that. Like I said, just in regards to, just because of how popular Mario has been, so of course, like I say, you see plenty of those, like your, like your Legend of Zelda cosplayers. I don't really see too many Black Panther cosplayers like that, whatever. Guardians of the Galaxy, most certainly, so as far as that, um, like I see, I certainly picked up, has some pretty good pickups this year when it comes to when it comes to um, comics, when it comes to like merchandise, so as far as that, I saw a great Master Chief cosplayer. I mean, he was absolutely incredible. Those Captain America in-game cosplayer, so as far as that, and of course afterwards, as far as AwesomeCon, they have great after parties also. You know what I mean? So that's become like kind of like a fixture for me. One of the fixtures for me at this point now. As far as that. And look forward to look forward to BlurCon in July. I look forward to AwesomeCon next year, even though it's like 9 months down the road from here. And I'm just figuring out like, wow, it's like super early, like early March. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, this is the earliest I've ever seen AwesomeCon take place. Um, what I mean? So as far as that, and so it's like I guess I'm starting to look forward to starting to like show up for the Sunday. Um, uh, like I said, as far like it's look forward to possibly showing up more so not just for Saturday, but also for Sunday as well, because that's when AwesomeCon closes out, and clearly they had a great time as far as like the way that ended. And so I'm thinking about even taking a chance and showing up for both Saturday and Sunday next year. And so I just wanted some of the ideas I've been kind of throwing around as far as cosplay. I've always had these in mind. Thor from Infinity War, Thor from Infinity War. Of course, like minus the sleeves. Like it's pretty much like Thor when he was discovered by the Guardians, and like right before they Stormbreaker. As far as that, pretty much like look for that type of cosplay. But the ones that really floating around are like a Joker cosplay. Just get the Arkham City suit. And plus I already have like a Joker visor. He has a purple visor, and it's got as a Joker eyes. Right here, and also has like has like this like fake green hair sitting out at the top. So I could do that with Arkham City suit. You could do that or like a mashup of the Joker and Prince, where I have still have the Joker suit, but like the Prince Jerry Crow wig from Purple Rain. That type of thing. So I'm thinking about thinking about doing something like that. So it's just something that Plus I already have the court purple, purple Jordan ones, like right here. And those definitely be great for that. For that idea. So I was like, okay, since I already got those, then just go ahead and make the most out of it. And plus, not only that, but next year, Purple Rain is going to be the 40th anniversary, so that would be perfect timing for it. So like when it comes to AwesomeCon, it's certainly a very mainstream. It's a mainstream when it comes to comic convention. So it's the equivalent as far as us. It's our equivalent of New York Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con, right? And of course the main attraction is this Hall E, which is the exhibit hall. So like I said, when it comes to AwesomeCon here in the DC area, I highly recommend it. That's just me. So of course with as far as comic news, as far as that being out the way, now it's time to move on to now it's time to move on to the destruction of the blood. Actually, you know what? Not just that, but also I noticed that today was the premiere of Secret Invasion, and in fact I just got finished watching that earlier, and it was a great episode. So I look forward. Like I said, it's certainly a great sign of things to come, and it's just in regards to I said it's just like it just set the stage for Secret Wars as far as this pre-scroll war, and I know that the scrolls are going to have a huge impact when it comes to Secret Wars, and I mean obviously Secret Invasion. So so it's just the way just how subtle they are when it comes to the way they disguise themselves. So like I said, I look forward to that and see how that would tie in to the new Captain Marvel movie, right? And and that new Captain Marvel movie as well, as well as the eventual, like I said, eventual Secret Wars. So so I definitely look forward to how those how the story branches off and ties into those critical events. What I mean? But of course, like I said, now that I've gotten all the comic news and stuff like that out the way, now it is time to move on to the most central theme of this episode, as the bloodline falls. Just as the world turns, as the bloodline falls, as we know, the bloodline is no more. Um, both Usos are out of the bloodline. Jay officially made his decision on Friday night. Jay finally pulled the trigger, and he told his brother Jimmy Uso that he was out. He was like, what? Since you're out, well, I'm out too, and just nailed one with the super kick. And then not only that, but him and Jimmy nailed one with the double super kick. And and those kicks went off like shotguns, and Roman just fell flat. He sold it like it was death or something. And the thing about it is that when it comes to Roman, it's one of those things where where he's constantly on the receiving end, of some type of turn or some type of twist. Now, there was only one instance where Roman was in the receiving end of a betrayal, and that was with the Shield. When Seth Rollins hit him in the back of the chair. So that was one betrayal for Roman. Everything else, he brought that on himself. From Sammy to Jimmy and Jay. So all the rest of those other three, Roman brought that on himself. The only one that you actually have sympathy for, feel bad about was the Shield breakup. But everything else, Roman's a gaslighter, Roman's a manipulator, Roman is a tyrant. Like I said, historically, I like to see this run of dominance. It's amazing. He's incredible for business, but from a storyline standpoint, he is a tyrant. And this reminds me, like I said, with Roman's downfall, it reminds me of the Lion King, when the hyenas turn on Scar. When the hyenas turn on Scar. And so in this case, with all due respect to Usos, they are pretty much they've been Roman's henchmen, just like the hyenas were Scar's henchmen. And so we're witnessing the hyenas turn the back on Scar. That's really what it is. It's no different than Bebop and Rocksteady. Bebop and Rocksteady turned the back on Shredder, right? You know what I mean? So, so as far as that, it's just that because Jay might as well be an Oscar, Oscar winner as everybody been saying over this whole weekend. Just because of how vital he's been in the storyline, and how crucial and how monumental he's been in the storyline. His stock has gone up significantly, so much so to the point where WWE 2K23 gave him a 90, a higher rating than his own brother. That is the definition of main event Jey Uso. So we first get the game. Jey Uso already has a higher rating than AJ Styles, Shawn Michaels, and I think even Macho Man Randy Savage. And come on, like I said, that speaks volumes. Just because, like I said, just because not only because Jey Uso is just that guy, but I see how much his profile has gone up. Like I see by his affiliation with this storyline, and and of course the Usos are already a legendary tag team, and they'll go down, and of course they've already gone down as the longest reigning tag team champions in WWE history. You can make a strong case that they could go down as the greatest tag team of all time, period, to the point where Bubba Ray even said it himself. And so, and of course, that's a guy who knows a thing or two about tag teams, I believe. Like I said, the Dudleys are a legendary tag team. They are in conversation for being the GOAT. And of course, Jobber Tears, like last week, they, I know that on their IG store, they ran a poll about who's the current GOAT tag team of all time, and Dudley Boys won that vote, and who's the future GOAT tag team, and the Usos won that. So, their credentials speak for themselves. Like I said, because of the fact that they were part of a storyline that put butts in seats. A storyline that did miracles for WWE and just for wrestling in and of itself. A storyline that has kept so many people fed. A storyline that enhances their status as legends. A storyline that has carried wrestling for three, 4 years. You know, and this is the third act, the third and final act, which spills over into a civil war. And I'm not talking about Captain America either. But then again, this might as well be the Bloodline Civil War. Of course, which is about to take place at Money in the Bank. And so, of course, a shout out to Luke from Cheap Pop Wrestling, because I was a guest on his show on Monday, and we were giving our Money in the Bank predictions. And so of course, my prediction was that the Usos would win, just because of the momentum that they had after turning back on Roman. And so, meanwhile, he was, meanwhile he picked Roman solo just because of the fact that, just because they cannot afford to take back-to-back L's, especially considering the fact that that Roman has been champion for more than 1,000 days, and so it's just like, how's that look on him? You know what I mean? So it's just sort of one of those things where I'm willing to keep my pick, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll be honest with you. I just want to see a great match, and it just excuse me, like I said, it just for the sake of just for the sake of seeing how this is culminated, and just the after effect of all this going down, and just how like I said, how this faction, how this family themselves have carried wrestling, actually, to the highest extent, if you will. You know what I mean? So as far as that, like I said, it's absolutely monumental. It's absolutely amazing to see the progression. You know what I mean? In that regard, like I said, it just when you look at Roman's leadership, when you look at the way that he's been selfless, even as champion, to the point where he's providing opportunities for other people. Providing opportunities, obviously, for his cousins, as well as for Solo, even Sami Zayn. It's like I said, for him to be the central figure of this storyline, and like I say, and look for ways to elevate others. Like I say, even though Sami already had a grassroots following ever since ROH, ever since his El Generico through NXT and now through the main roster. But this is the first time that Sami had ever been in a primetime main event spot through his entire career. He has not had this type. He's not had this type of mainstream level exposure. And so Sami benefited greatly because of that. Jay certainly benefited greatly because of the storyline, because of the fact that he was once a contender for Roman's title. And of course, most notably, that 2020 Hell in a Cell match, right? And so of course, at the end of the match, Roman wins. He chokes out Jimmy, and so of course, at the end of that match, Roman is holding the belt up high, standing over top of both of them. But this past Friday, the tables turned. The roles reversed. Whereas the Usos put up the one standing on top of Roman, and so I was like, yeah, this is absolutely picked up in a monumental way. The Bloodline submitted themselves to be in that conversation for the GOAT faction. You know what I mean? So as far as that, I know I already put them past the Hart Foundation. You can make an argument against Evolution, so it's like whatever. You know what I mean? So when it comes to that, when it comes to fan interest, when it comes to drawing power, when it comes to just overall merchandise movement. Obviously, with this shirt, you know, they moved the needle, pun intended, right? And the thing about it is that I remember when I first saw that shirt of of Roman. Excuse me. When I first saw that shirt of Roman by himself. So what happened was WWE. Um, they made a different Roman Reigns shirt. Obviously, many of you've seen it, and so it's got the same picture of Roman from this original Bloodline shirt. Um, and so you like see, and the thing is, the shirt only has this particular picture, um, and of course it's without the Usos. So, you know, just Roman by himself. And so what they did, they took this graphic of Roman and just enlarged it. So just him by himself, and I think Heyman's behind him as well. And so it's just something like greatness awaits you, whatever like that. So if anything, WWE was already foreshadowing um, at that time what was going to happen. You know, that Roman was going to end up, was going to end up having to stand on his own. Even though Solo came, Solo came in later. And the thing about it is that it was obviously Solo is Roman's. Solo's Roman's tried and true henchman. And so of course, when it comes to my things like when it comes to sort of like my money in the bank predictions. So when it comes to Cody versus Dominic, actually have Cody winning. Now when it comes to the men's Money in the Bank, I have Damian Priest winning. Just because of his momentum after the momentum he's been building. I've got match with Seth Rollins, and just just his momentum when it comes to at least just for the sake of storyline purposes, with the Judgment Day being one of the top factions, not named the Bloodline, right? So it makes sense that someone who's in such a key faction, such a key storyline, will end up winning the Money in the Bank. And so that causes dissension, further causes the dissension within the Judgment Day when it comes to Finn and Priest. And so when it comes to Seth versus Finn, of course I'm going with Seth. The visionary, the revolutionary. I think he's going to keep I think he's going to keep the world heavyweight title. Looks great on him, by the way. You know what I mean? Like he's carrying as a fighting champion, like he said he would, right? And so as far as that, when of course, when it comes to the women's, like I said, so as far as that, when it comes to the women's Money in the Bank, I am going with in fact, as far as the women's Money in the Bank, I'm going with Io. I mean, who better than the genius of the sky herself? And of course now you have Trish involved in this match, and so and the fact that Trish Stratus is in a Money in the Bank ladder match in 2023, I don't think that was on anybody's bingo card whatsoever. But it's still great for business. You know what I mean? And of course, when it comes to the when it comes to in fact I'm gonna go ahead and see the card itself when it comes to 2020 the Money in the Bank. I'm just gonna look at the card itself when it comes to the 2023 Money in the Bank PLE. And of course, they have Seth Rollins um, on the cover of it, as he deserves. London Bridge is falling down, if you will. So yeah, okay, so yeah, when it comes to Money in the Bank, there are 5 matches so far, and then of course starting off with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, and of course you have the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. So the men's Money in the Bank has Ricochet, Nakamura, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Butch, Damian Priest, and Logan Paul. Out of all those, of course, for me, I'm going with Damian Priest. Now, when it comes to the women's Money in the Bank, that's Zelina Vega, Becky Lynch, Zoe Stark, Bayley, Io Sky, and Trish Stratus. So Zoe and Trish are in the same match together, the mentor and the mentee. And I remember, I remember hearing this from somebody, and it brought up how in the 2003 Elimination Chamber match, Triple H, and the fact that Triple H won that 2003 Elimination Chamber match, but Randy Orton was involved. So during that match, Randy was going out of his way to make sure that even though he was in the same match as Triple H, he still made sure that Triple H walked out champion. And so but anyway. So yeah, sorry about that, yeah, like I said, far, my bad. But yeah, like I said, the thing about it is that like I said, it's going to be very interesting, and like I said, it reminds me of the 2003 Elimination Chamber match at SummerSlam, where whereas even though Randy Orton and Triple H were in the same match together, Triple H won, and I'm pretty sure that Orton made sure that Triple H still walked out as champion. And so I see in this, Zoe's gonna find a way to make sure that Trish still walks out as the Money in the Bank winner, as the #1 contender for either of the women's titles. And so and of course very very interesting, very fascinating that neither of the women's championships are on the line at Money in the Bank. But then again, not like I said, but then again, not this the Universal title, or the WWE title. So you know what I mean. So as far as Roman's concerned, this Bloodline Civil War takes place over both of his championships. You know what I mean. So it's got to the point with it. With that match is just absolutely personal. But anyway, the second match for Money in the Bank, obviously, it's the women's championship Money in the Bank ladder match. Then after that, you have Cody versus Dominic. Of course, with Rhea in Dominic's corner. So I still have Cody winning. Of course, you also have Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor, as I said before. Seth is winning. And when it comes to the Bloodline, Roman and Solo versus Usos, I have a feeling that I picked the Usos to win, but I have a feeling that they might possibly be a swerve just for the sake of Roman and Solo not going 0-2. But like I said, my initial pick, sorry about that. My initial pick still stands as the Usos, but I firmly enjoy the chemistry that they've had when it comes to the story. I appreciate the continuity. I appreciate the consistency. I appreciate the storytelling and how they've been able to maintain this interest for so long without it feeling long-winded, without it feeling forced, and there's always they always find a way to to just um, make things fresh, make things new. So as far as that, um, but yeah, like I said, it's just like um, the way that they're able to maintain, uh, like I said, maintain that fan interest, and just the way that just the way the storyline has kept people engaged, and you know what I mean, and like I said, it's just like um, we've constantly seen week in and week out the best of being as yet the best is yet to come, the best yet to come, and so now we are officially in Act Three of this story. Act Three is where the war breaks out. Um, and there are talks of The Rock possibly sticking his head in here in this in this. I would say like after uh, bloodlines crumble, after Roman has nobody left, you know, and then this could be a situation where they battle it out for true supremacy, who's truly the truly uh, the head of the table, if you will, you know, and so um, who knows, that could be what leads up to WrestleMania 40. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm not going to hold out too much hope when it comes to Dwayne. You know what I mean? What I mean? So as far as that, but it was absolutely incredible to see. You know, and shout out to Mimi from Black Wrestling, and she's the ultimate Roman super fan, like Roman like psycho fan. You know, and and the thing is, um, even though she's a huge Roman apologist, even she says that Roman deserved it. And I'm like, really? You know what I mean? Like that. I think that caught a lot of people off guard. You know, especially coming from her, who's written, like it's like from someone like her, who's written an article um, about Roman in Fightful. And it was absolutely incredible. It was absolutely amazing. And speaking of her, um, she's also written an article for Black Wrestling for the BRP 50, which as I'm making this transition, that's another thing. Um, I, that's another issue, another topic that I briefly want to dive in as well. You know what I mean? So of course, in honor of Juneteenth, every year, Black Wrestling releases what they call the BRP 50. And what that is a list of the top 50 Black wrestlers in the world every year. And so their window of criteria, their window of evaluation um, goes from May of last year to May of this year, May of the previous year to May of the current year. So, for instance, their evaluation process will go from May 2022 to May 2023. So that's the window that they use um, to evaluate things, and just to make sure that each wrestler's performance falls within the umbrella of their criteria, right? Just like with any list, just like with any list, I know from experience, there's such thing as criteria, and for people who see lists, you have to respect criteria, and their criteria, just like mine, um, are a mirror image of PWI, and what they do, they give spotlight to wrestlers who otherwise um, either A, will be very, very low in PWI, or will not see the light of day at all on that list, right? And so that list covers Black wrestlers from all across like all across the wrestling circuit from WWE, AEW, um, uh, all the way through the indies. You name it. So as far as that, and so um, every of course, as I said before, the evaluation period goes from May 2022 to this past May in 2023, and they they roll out the list Juneteenth of every year. You know, whether like I said, whether like I said, they officially release the list Juneteenth of every year. Whether they release the whole thing in one day or release it day by day, that's up to them to decide, right? So of course, um, I'll say, absolutely, that there's some great, fascinating new additions. Shout out to Jay Bougie, a guy who was probably at the after the 50 list, has officially made it on the BRP 50. He's also been on PWI, so of course, of course, um, congratulations to him and the success that he's been having. And so, so like I said, congratulations to him, and congratulations to Janai Kai, who is another indie star on the rise, and she's actually native of here in the DMV, and so the thing is, like, the thing about it was that I was somewhat familiar of her work, not as familiar of her work as I am like Trisha Dora or something like that, but I would say that I caught like a glimpse of it from an indie wrestling show that went to like back in March, right? And so it was like, things like when I saw her, I was I'll say when I saw her, I was very impressed, but I'll say I'll say that particular article opened my eyes up even more to her story and more to her background, so that I could, so that I could take even more notes and pay even more attention to it, And so as far as that, like I say, those are some of the some of the latest new entries that I've seen thus far. Those that were, I'm not going to give the whole thing away, I'm going to spoil it for anybody. But like I said, I believe that their evaluation is fair. Among their criteria includes TV time, win-loss records, in-ring achievements, championships, title reigns, the way you're booked, stuff like that, technical ability, things like that. Just overall impact. You know what I mean? And one of the things I always like to say, as I defend them and what they believe in, my thing is this: TV time matters. Exposure matters. You could be the best pound for pound wrestler in the entire world from an in-ring standpoint, but if you're on the sidelines, it doesn't matter. If you're not getting enough TV time, it doesn't matter. If you're not moving merch, it doesn't matter. If you're not moving the needle from a rating standpoint, it doesn't matter. If you're not a draw, it doesn't matter. When it comes to wrestling, those are very critical keys of criteria. No matter who's making the list, whether it's PWI, BRP, it doesn't matter. Either or. Because at the end of the day, TV time equals exposure. Exposure equals money. You know what I mean? And like, like, of course, like, 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 performances, match quality, you name it. And there have been several names that have been shuffled around. I've seen so far on this list. Um, I've seen numbers 50 down to like 11s, like from about from like 50 through 11 so far. And I will say this: when the rest of the list comes out, when the final top 10 comes out, then next week I'm going to give even more of my thoughts about this. But this first standpoint, I'm very intrigued. You know, like I said, there have been names who have, who dropped a few spots. There have been names who dropped, much lower. There have been those whose performances have, who moved up by leaps and bounds because of what they've done in the ring, because of what they've done on TV. There are those who are certainly most improved players. So as far as that, and just to just to see the time and the effort that BRP puts in when it comes to their evaluation process. Like I said, I commend them. Their timing, their effort, their presentation. Sorry for my nails a little bit, but like I said, the thing about it is that when it comes to their timing, their effort, the work that they put in, the research that they put into this, making a list is not easy. And from what I've heard so far, you already have people complaining about it, and they haven't even seen the top 10 yet. And you already have people that have gripes, that have problems, that have issues already. And so I believe Cal has even said it before, and I'm going to say it. If you don't like something, make a list. If you disagree with the way someone evaluates things, make your own list. If you don't like it, make your own list. That's what they stand by. That's what I stand by as well. If you disagree with where someone is ranked, make your own list about it. They are not, and in fact, they will be the first ones to tell you they do not have a monopoly on lists. Even when it comes to black wrestlers, they don't have a monopoly on them. Then that's not the only black wrestlers list in town. There's even there's even a list of like the top 500 black wrestlers. I remember I seen that last year. I didn't even know that there were even 50 black wrestlers at first, let alone 500 to rank. Right. So, there are multiple avenues, if you will. So like I said, I'm liking what I see so far, and this list is very indie wrestling themed. Not saying that they didn't have emphasis on indie. Not saying that BRP didn't have emphasis on indie wrestling. Not saying that they did not have emphasis on indie wrestling before, but from the pattern that I've seen so far on this list, it's very indie wrestling centric, where you have several several names from the indie circuit that are higher than people that you see on TV on a regular basis. So that is sort of my takeaway so far. And I like how they're showcasing more untapped talent, unsigned talent, like so, undiscovered talent on the indie circuit. Names that already have like grassroots followings on the indie scene. You know, guys, just see people that are moving the needle and making waves and shaking things up um, all across uh, the Black wrestling community. You know, and it's certainly great to see. And especially considering that that we've been in such a renaissance of Black wrestling. You know, a list like this is very is very much appreciated. It's been a list like this is almost like a love letter when it comes to Black wrestling, when it comes to um, the Black wrestling community, from the wrestlers themselves to the fans. you know and so my I guess you could say, sort of like uh, my hope and my prayer is that we don't see the same type of toxic discourse um, for this year's list as we saw from last year. Like the reception of the thing is, even though last year's list was very well received, but there was just a nasty underbelly um, that emerged when this list came out. Um, when it from a certain wrestler who did not want to be on the list, and just they just and just made a hard just want to make a hard time for everybody. So I'm just and so my sincere hope and prayer is that um, is that we don't see we don't see the same um, reception for this year's list as we saw from last year. As we saw from last year, it's great. And the thing is, it's great to have discussion. It's great to have dialogue, but you don't have to be disrespectful about it. It's great to have dialogue. It's great to have your own viewpoint of of where someone should be ranked higher or lower, or they're in the right spot, stuff like that. You know, is one thing to have those type of discussions, but it's another thing to, it's another thing um, to just make it harder for the people that put in the time and put in the work and put in the effort um, to create something special, right? You know, I don't want to sound like I'm just rambling on and on over and over, but um, salute to them and everything that they do, you know. And so, what I mean. So like I said, I look forward to um, the rest of the rollout. You know, um, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I'm impressed where Trinity is on this list. I'm not going to give it away. I'm looking forward to seeing where Mercedes falls on this list. Let me see where Willow falls on this list. Where Carmelo, especially since he's the NXT champion now. Um, Bobby, the ESC herself, Bianca Belair, and it would be incredible if she could have a repeat as being number one on the BRP 50, since she already has a WrestleMania winning streak, WrestleMania three-peat. What, if anything, hey, why not go back to back when it comes to BRP 50? That's just me, you know. But anyway, pretty much those are my thoughts for the night. Um, as the Bloodline falls, this is my Awesome Con recap and my thoughts so far on the BRP 50. So the thing is, the funny thing is, next week will be my 100th episode, which is crazy that even for me to even say that, to even like just to even fathom that, to even for that to even come out of my mouth, considering like, considering that my audience isn't that big, I'm already on my way to 100 episodes. I got some developed myself like a mini grassroots following, if you will. Um, and I'm thankful for for those uh, that I said, for those that are supporting me um, on this journey, if you will, things like that. So I'm thankful for every guest that's been on the show, whether it's a wrestler, podcaster, you name it. You know what I mean? So I'm thankful, for the doors that are being open, and of course next week's my 100th episode, and I'm certainly gonna have um, a pretty big announcement next week, and of course for next week's 100th episode, I'm gonna go even into more detail, into more depth when it comes to, like I said, as a review the rest of the BRP 50. So. Thank you, of course, like I said, thank you very much for watching, and may you have an incredible night.